Today we will move on to 2.2. We're going to be dealing with solving equations. So if I had x plus 4 equals 9, what is that asking for? What does that mean? Well, no, don't tell me what to do. What is this asking for? Money? Right. What number plus 4 is equal to 9? Well, we can just do that in our head, right? What number can we add 4 to get 9? And the answer is 5. And in theory, you could solve every equation that way by just thinking, what value do I need to pick and do these things to equal the value on the other side? But these formulas get quite complicated, and today is going to be very simple. So we have developed something we call algebra. And algebra allows us to take a complicated equation and pull it apart piece by piece and solve a variable. So x is held to this 4 using addition. We want to undo addition. What is the opposite of addition? Subtraction. So instead of adding 4, I'm going to subtract 4. What good does that do? What's the point of doing that? So now I get x plus 0. But if I have a balance, all equations are balances. If I take 4 pounds off of this side, what's going to happen to my balance? Now I'm like this. Am I allowed to take 4 pounds off of one side? I can do that as long as I do the same thing to the other side. So now I subtract 4 over here. So my original balance was altered when I took 4 away. Then it went like this. And now I took 4 away on the other side, and now it's balanced once again. And x plus 0 is just x. So x equals 5. So algebra is all about maintaining that equality, maintaining that balance. You can do anything you want as long as you do the same thing on both sides. Okay. What about this? X minus 10 is equal to negative 7. What do I do here? I need to do the opposite of subtract 10. The opposite of subtract 10 is add 10. And I get x equals 3. Okay. What does x equals 3 represent? Well, that's the number that I can put in here and get negative 7. So 3 minus 10 equals negative 7. So in theory, you should never get one of these wrong on a test, because when you have the answer, you can always plug it back in to see if it's correct. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. What about this? So I have 3 times x. So some number times 3 is equal to 18. And the answer is 6. We know that. But how does this work algebraically? Well, what is holding the 3 and the x together? Multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So I divide by 3. What does that give me? 3 divided by 3 is 1. I thought I wanted to get rid of the number. Well, when you're dealing with addition and subtraction, 0 is nothing. But when you're dealing with multiplication and division, 1 is nothing, which is a little bit weird. We want to reduce the 3 to nothing, but in multiplication, nothing is a 1. So, that's a 6. So I get x equals 6. What about x over 4 is equal to negative 2? The opposite of divide 4 is multiply by 4. And I get x equals negative 8. Okay, let's do one that's a little bit harder. X minus 1/2 equals 3/2. Yeah, who's jamming out? Is that you, Winter? We can totally hear your music. So I need to add 1/2. What is 3/2 plus 1/2? 4/2, which is 2. Okay. You're going to run into some like this. Subtract a third. How do you do fractional subtraction without common denominators? No. You make a common denominator. Cross multiply is only when you have a fraction equals a fraction. To add or subtract fractions, they have to have the same common denominator. So what's the common denominator here? 6. What does this need to turn into a 6? 3 over 3. And this one needs a 2 over 2. So 3 times 1 is 3, minus 2 is 1 over 6. Okay. What if we had 3/5 x is equal to 15? What is holding the 3/5 and the x together? Multiplication. So I should divide. So there are a couple ways to do this. I could divide by 3/5, or you could look at it like this. How do we divide by a fraction? No! Don't cross multiply. Cross multiply is only when you have fraction equals fraction. When you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across. When you divide, you flip the second one and multiply straight across. So we need to flip this one, and I turn that into multiplication. 5 times 15 is 75, divided by 3 is 25. Now, let me show you another way. So some of you are already working ahead. Watch this. This will make it a little bit easier. The goal is to get the 3/5 into a 1. So I'm just going to times it by 5 over 3. And then the 5's cancel and the 3's cancel. So 5 over 3, and that gives me 25. Does that make sense? So whenever you need to divide by a fraction, you could just multiply by the upside down version of it. And that will simplify everything. Okay? You guys think you can handle that? All right. Get to work. What's that? In the assignment? Well, some of them say, which is the correct answer? Is that the one you're looking at? Let me see, before I turn the video on. Huh.